We arrived in Libya in the evening. This is how you'd expect this kind of story to start, but actually we crossed the Tunisian border when the sun was still high. Our driver told us to be careful. We all thought that was a little bit unnecessary, but he explained it this way. NATO and Gaddafi could both blame each other if journalists got killed. On our first night in Tripoli, we got a very warm welcome. Rix's hotel we stayed was just a kilometer or two away from Bab al-Azizia, Gaddafi's residence. And that was bombed that night as it had never been before and would never be afterwards. It was literally shaking. Curtains in our rooms were moving, even with doors firmly closed. My bed was just beside a glass wall. I moved it deeper into the room because I was scared that an explosion could destroy it, literally. My Western colleagues explained me that Rix's hotel at that time was the safest place in Libya because NATO knew that's where journalists were. But we couldn't stop thinking, what if they make a mistake?
The residents of Sugujima district here in Tripoli have been woken up by a strike. In the middle of the night, a bomb or several bombs landed here, destroying, as you can see behind me, several three-story buildings.
And there were no professional rescuers at the scene, only men with bare hands. And one after another, they pulled out 5 dead bodies. We actually couldn't see the bodies themselves because they were just wrapped up in blankets. 5 lifeless bundles. In the morgue, we heard that there were 3 little babies among the dead. They were lying there on the cold metal tables, still in Pampers. And next morning, NATO confirmed it had made a mistake.
The intended target during last night's airstrike in Tripoli was a military missile site. However, from our initial assessment of the facts, it appears that one weapon did not strike the intended target due to a weapons systems failure.
Of course I wanted to meet Gaddafi or his son Saif al-Islam. Every journalist did, but that was kind of impossible. I do remember one day after a news conference, my friend, an Italian photographer, came to me and pointing at the man in a suit told me he wants to meet you. Next night I got a call, the car is waiting, someone told me. We expected them to blindfold us, but they didn't do anything like that. You know, there are people, they enter the room and no one pay any attention to them. But he was different. When he entered, we all noticed. We all knew that he is right now in the room. There was energy coming out from him. Very powerful man. He invited me to follow him in a separate room and he grilled me with questions. Many questions like, what do you think about NATO? What do you think about the uprising here in Libya? What do you think about me? What do you think about my father? But I was calm and confident. And then he suddenly stopped and looked at my shoes, high heels. And he went, "Sweetie, what about your questions?" And you know, he looked like he didn't take me seriously, actually. And I looked at my notes, and among the first questions there was, did you or your father give the order to kill civilians? But I didn't tell him that, and I was like smiling, just ordinary questions. And he said, okay, let's go. And that interview was one of the best interviews in my life, if not the best interview. Saif was very sincere, very open. He thought always before answering. There was really, literally electricity in that room.
Libya, please! Gaddafi, go away!
We left next morning and I had a feeling that I would never see this country again. I did go back 6 weeks later, but that was a different country already, with new faces, new heroes, new everything. The country I had traveled in the summer 2011, it is now just a part of history, for good.